So you want to be a phantom. So you want to be the most handsome, cunning, and smooth classes in the game. He's also the richest. Trust me, do his story quest and you'll see. Or just go to his boat. He has a storage room with all his mesos, but he has... but in Arian, oh my god, he has a whole, like, oh my god, he has a treasure room. Like, it's sealed away and everything. Oh my god, he's so rich. Anyway, you can never use those mesos, so forget about it. Then you've come to the right class. What in the world was that red? Anyway. So in the beginner tab, we have To the Skies, which will teleport you back to his airship. By the way, look at how rich he is. Look at this boat. You can't tell me that he's not rich. Well, I mean, he's a thief, so it's not like he earned it. Only thing he earned is a dead girlfriend. I'm sorry. Oh my god, too soon. Arya's been dead for what, like 30 years? I don't know. What am I talking about anymore? This video's a mess. So, that'll take you to his rich boat, and then we have Shroud Walk, which allows you to teleport up to three times before it, stops working. And it goes pretty far, but every time that you teleport, it increases the cooldown by 1.5 seconds. So you go left, right, up, down, but it does have a cooldown based on how many times you teleport. And after using it the third time, it'll automatically take you out of the teleport thing. Otherwise, you have to press Shroud Walk again. Alright, next we have Skill Swipe, which when you press it, you can look for an explorer in the map and steal their skills. You can steal, well, based on your job advance, but let's say you're 150 and above. You can steal first, second, third, fourth, and hyper skills. Only from explorers though, or adventurer classes. To exit that mode, just right click. And I'll show this in use later. Loadout. So loadout is where the skills that you steal go to. And all you have to do is double click it or put it on your keyboard and press it. But in First Job, First Job doesn't really have that many useful skills. I do have Magic Guard just because when you want to go fight Lotus... Okay, this beginning part's probably going to be long because I'm actually going to explain all the stolen skills here. Because I might as well do it here instead of waiting until later. So I'm just going to do it now. So Dark Sight, obvious, you don't want to get hit, go into Dark Sight. Especially helpful at bosses later on, like Magnus or Vellum, you don't want to get stunned by the rocks or something. Extremely useful skill. Haste, I only really stole it because in First Job I didn't have max speed. So if you don't have max speed, you can go ahead and use this. If you do, don't worry about it. Although it is a party skill, so if you want to give your party speed, then go ahead. Magic Guard. Magic Guard as a skill when training in First Job wasn't actually that useful because you don't take enough damage to really have to worry about your HP. But later on, when you're fighting, let's say, I don't know, something that hits hard but doesn't do percent HP, I would say this is great because it reduces the damage that you take and sends it to your MP instead. But like I said, if you're using it in First Job, it's not really all that useful because you're going to end up using more MP potions than anything. Another skill that I would steal is Energy Bolt, also from mages. Because if you're going to go fight Arcarium, or how do you say his name? Arcarium? He summons enemies that can only be damaged with magical attacks, or magic attacks. So having Energy Bolt allows you to take down those snakes, which are very annoying for physical attackers because they only take 1 damage from physical attacks, but they constantly heal arc. So you definitely want to get rid of those guys as soon as possible. And that's it for First Job. Second Job, stolen skills. Hyper Body, mainly just for support, if you want to increase your HP as well as your party members. Rage, always helpful, increases you and your party members' attack. Some other skills that I would steal, I guess maybe Bless. It's pretty good. I don't have it stolen now, because I didn't feel like bothering my friends to log into their classes. And last, I would say Heal, because when you're fighting at bosses that, again, sorry this is so long, when you're fighting at bosses that where you can't use potions all the time, there's a potion cooldown, you might want to use heal. And yes, heal will have a cooldown, but the more people you heal, the less of a cooldown it has, so use it wisely. But it can really save you later on in bossing. Moving on to third job, Cross Surge, amazing. It's a huge boost in damage for Phantom. Holy Symbol, it's extra EXP, so why not? Arrow Blaster, this helps with training if you're training in like a big map, because you can place it down and just have the arrow shoot while you're somewhere else, you know, killing enemies. Or it also helps out during a boss fight, Galux, where maybe you're in the eye phase and you can't really watch the enemies on the bottom, so you put the arrow platter down there and it'll kill the enemies for you. And anything else I would say in third job? Maybe Holy Magic Shell, which is a bishop skill. That's really useful for when you're going to bosses like, actually I don't even know if you can bring it to Ursus, but if you're fighting, let's say, Lucid or something, an enemy that has like an attack you don't want to get one-shot by. So also Arc. Arcarium has an attack where he pretty much explodes the screen. You can avoid that with Holy Magic Shell. So attacks like that, you want to bring that. But I don't really use my Phantom much, so I just use these. By the way, you can only use one skill at a time out of all the skills that you steal. Per job, I mean. And then fourth job, Final Cut is a huge damage boost. Gives you 40% damage. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, it gives you 40% damage boost for a pretty long time. Especially if you have buff, what was it called? Buff mastery? Buff duration? Buff duration. Goodness, I can't think today. So, for training, I have Cannon Bazooka. And Cannon Bazooka is actually not that slow because you're a Phantom and it goes off of your attack speed or your Kane's attack speed. And it hits very long range, a lot of damage, so it's a great training skill. However, you could also trade it out for Showdown. Showdown gives you extra EXP and drop rate as you're attacking with it. You could also use Hurricane or Rapid Fire if you want to, you know, fight enemies from a distance. If you're like fighting a boss from a distance. Anything else? I think that's it. So later on, you get a 150 hyper that allows you to steal hyper skills. And I would recommend stealing Bullseye Shot, because it increases your crit rate by 20%, crit damage by 10%, monster defense ignored 20%, and damage by 20%. It's a really good skill for Phantom, especially because of the crit rate. And you'll see why later when I explain the crit rate stuff. You can also steal Sacred Sanctity from Paladin, because that skill gives you, I believe it was 30 seconds of invincibility, like pure invincibility. And what I mean by that is, it's as if your character isn't even in the game anymore. Like, nothing can hurt you for 30 seconds. So that's really good for being on, like, the defensive. And there's another skill I would also steal, but you can, of course, you would have to right-click and get rid of it. Fire Aura, or Inferno Aura, I think it's called, which is from Fire Poison Mage. That skill is great for training, because it'll constantly proc a skill later on that you get that like sends cards out. And it's just really good for training, because it covers a lot of area and whatever. But for bossing, I always use Bullseye or Sacra. And I believe that's all the skills that I would steal as a Phantom. I'm sure there's a lot more that people can probably write down in the comments, like what they're used for and whatever. But let me give you a quick tip. So let's say you don't want to use your fourth job skills, and you want to instead use Cross Surge, but you also want to use Holy Symbol. You can actually move skills from a previous job onto the next job's slot. So if I want to use a third job in a fourth job slot, I can do that. But I can't use a fourth job in a third job slot. You can only go from down the bottom to the above. So if I want to use Magic Guard instead of Rage, I can do that as well. Probably should have mentioned that first. Anyway. So, when you do switch skills like I just did there, you can't use the new skill until 30 seconds later. And I guess that's about it for my explanation on that. Okay. Maybe I'll make that a whole separate video. I don't know yet. We'll see. Alright, so moving into the actual skills. What haven't I shown yet? I went over that. So let me just go to channel 1 so I can find some people to show you what this actually looks like when you use it on people. So, as a Phantom, you're only allowed to steal skills from Adventurer or Explorer classes. They're both the same thing, I just call them two different things. And what you do is you activate the skill swipe skill, and then you hover over them with your mouse. Here's a Bowmaster up here, Blade Master, I'm sorry, up here. Just left click on them, and you'll be able to see their skills. Or the skills that you can steal, basically. And since he doesn't have his hypers yet, you can't actually see them. They do have to have the points added in, because let's say someone didn't max their skill, then when you steal it from them, it's also not max. So make sure you steal from people that actually maxed out their skills. Hello there, future Kyo here. Totally forgot to mention Judgment Draw and Judgment Draw Auto Manual. So, Judgment Draw. When you use it, or the only time that you can use it, is when you have maxed out cards. Right now I have 40, and if I have 40 cards because of all the critical hits that I hit, then I can use Judgment Draw. When I use Judgment Draw, 10 cards will be sent out to do damage to enemies, and I'll also get a buff. If it's a light blue card, or if it's a blue card, I get 20% crit rate. If it's a purple card, I get 10% drop rate. If it's a green card, I get stuff that I don't really care about, like 20 status, abnormal status resistance. And if it's a red card, 1% of the damage that I do, I recover, I recover 1% HP for every attack that I do. So, yeah, other than that, there's auto or manual, which when you press it, it switches you from auto or manual. When in manual mode, you have to press Judgment Draw yourself. When in auto mode, it'll activate as soon as you hit the 40 mark, or the max of however many cards you can hold, and launch the 10 cards and give you the buff automatically. What I like to do is, when I need to heal myself, and I see that I have the red card, I put it on manual, and then once I'm healed, I put it back on auto. Or like when you need a specific buff, then I just put it on manual so that it doesn't use up the buff, or it doesn't refresh it and use a new buff, and then back to auto when I just want to do damage. Alright, back to the past Kyo. So in first job, you get Double Entendre, and I'm probably not going to explain these names because me in French, like I learned that one of the fourth job skills is actually called like Mille Aguiles. And I've been calling it Mille Aguiles. I'm just like, what? I don't know French. But anyway, this skill does 2 lines. Oops, sorry about that. Does 2 lines, and it attacks pretty fast. So, not bad for a first job skill. The range on it isn't that great though, so I don't know, maybe it is a bad skill. You also get to steal a first job skill from any explorer. I have Dark Side because I feel like it. Phantom Swiftness allows you to flash jump. Doesn't go very far, but you can do it twice to go even farther. And the rest is passive. Moving on to second job, you get Calling Card, which allows you to just throw cards at the enemies. That's pretty much all. Does 3 lines, has some distance on it, but I never really liked it too much. I much prefer the third job skill, which is closer ranged, but I like it. You also get to steal a second job skill. For me, it's Rage, so I can get the attack boost. Mille card something, whatever, or Mille. So it just allows you to push enemies. I said I was gonna say these names, and yet I'm trying to say them anyway. So you push these guys back, or when you use it, you push enemies back, but these guys have kind of like a resistance to it, so they just push right back, like they just rush right for you. But it pushes them pretty far. You also get this skill, whatever. And when you successfully do a critical attack, there's a 60% chance that you get another card into your deck. I have the 4th job version, so every attack I do, I get a card. But yeah. And then you get Booster, which increases your attack speed by 2, and the rest are passive. I'm sorry, is that not... I didn't max this? Oh, I should probably take a point out of this and put it into that. Because I'm missing out on 6 luck. Anyway. Moving on to 3rd job. We get Blason. I don't actually know if that's how it's supposed to be said, but yeah. And I like this skill. It's not very long range, but it does a lot of lines. I think it was 4 lines. Yeah, 4 lines. Okay, so it's just 1 more than the 2nd job. But it's pretty fast. It's a pretty fast attacking skill, and I like it a lot. Has good reach on it in terms of vertical. And yeah, that's all that does. You also get to steal a 3rd job skill. Right now I have Cross Surge to increase my damage. Here, I'll even show you like how much Rage and that increased my damage. So 160. Wrong skills. There we go. And now I'm at 255. 207 actually without the 4th job skill. 196 without the 4th job skills. Okay, anyway. Let's see. And then we have Final Feint, which, when you use it, you have protection against death 1 time. So when you die, you recover 100% of your HP and you're invincible for 4 seconds. But after this skill activates, it goes on a cooldown for 1,800 seconds. So it's just like a safeguard to make sure, like, if you die, you can come back. Bad Luck Ward gives you 30% HP, 30% MP, and 40 status resistance. And then I believe the rest are passive. Nope, there's 1 skill right here. Rapier Wit, whatever. And what this does is it rushes you forward, and then also does like a little slash at the end. And I never really used this skill. I mean, I guess you should, especially if you're training in 3rd job at maybe Sandwich or something. You'll be able to just go across the map and, yeah, just, I don't know. I didn't really like it too much. But you can also use it with this skill, the one where you push them, and it'll make the delay shorter. So it says if you link it with that melee skill, it'll reduce the post-attack downtime. But like I said, I never really used it. I was more of a just spam this skill kind of guy. Or use a different explorer skill for training. Anywho. Then we move on to 4th job. And in 4th job, oh boy, training gets a lot easier. So you get this skill. This is the one I was talking about before that, you know, I can't really pronounce. It's like Melee Aguiles. I know it looks like Melee Aguiles or Aguiles. But anyway, when you use it, you can hold it down. You can't jump while using it though. And it gives you a fancy looking cape. I love that. And it attacks pretty quickly. It's a very good skill. Like, look at all those crit. Oh my god, so many crits. But yeah, it's a very good skill. It's your main bossing skill. I also used it for training because it attacks so fast, but everyone trains Phantom differently, I suppose. And then you can steal a 4th job skill. Right now I have Bazooka because I used to use it for training as well. Has good range on it and does a lot of damage. So if you don't want to use melee, just use that. And then you get an upgrade to your card skill, the one where you send out cards. every time that you crit, you have a 100% chance to put a card into your deck. And let's see, anything else? No? Okay. And once again, once you get to 40 cards, it'll just send them all out, especially if you have them on auto, and do a lot of damage. Penombre. So this skill throws your character back, but leaves cards in his place that explode, and also reduces enemy defense by, let's say, 20% for 15 seconds. So here's what it looks like. You just launch yourself backwards, and like explode cards in your place. Pretty good for training if you can one-hit enemies, especially if the map is large. I only really use it on bosses to lower their defense or to get away from a certain attack, because it does make you travel pretty far, so it's a good escape option. I'm not even going to try. I'm going to just call this Aria. So what it does is it increases your damage by 30%, and you ignore 30% enemy defense. And it's a really pretty skill. Like Aria is really cute. Really cute. Anyway. Tempest. Tempest is actually stronger than your bossing skill, but it has a cooldown of 18 seconds. And when you use it, it'll do 3 lines really quickly, and get larger the longer you hold it down. It only has 3 stages of how big it can get, but it's very strong. And you can move around with it. You can't jump though. Or can you? I don't think you can. I'll have to try it again soon. Ooh, this skill. Okay. Oh my god. So this skill allows you to steal buffs from enemies. So if they increase their attack, you can steal that and give yourself a 40 attack boost. Or, let's say they do, I call it weapon cancel, they call it damage ignore. Where it makes your damage like all ones. Like, you'll see it above the boss's head. It's like either a yellow ball or a blue ball. The blue ball is for magic cancel, and the yellow one is for physical. But anyway, if you steal that from enemies, then your damage received is reduced by 40%. And then of course you could steal damage reflect, and when you do that, you reflect 600% damage back to the enemy as they try to hit you. And if the enemy has invincibility, you also steal invincibility. Or you steal the invincibility. Great skill. I don't believe these guys actually buffed themselves in any way, so I can't steal anything, but I'll show you when I get to bossing. Anything else I want to mention? Maple Warrior gives you and your party 15% all stats, and Hero's Will cures abnormal status. Okay. Moving on to hyper passives. I added into Tempest damage and cooldown reduced by 20%. Because, I mean, it's good for mobbing, it's good for bossing, it's just overall a great skill to use ever since it's buff. And then I added all 3 into your main attacking skill. I gave it 20% damage, plus 2 enemies hit because it only hits 6 enemies, so why not have it be 8, especially if you're doing a DIPQ or something. And then I also gave it 20% defense ignored. I didn't really find any of the bad luck ward use to be too useful. Alright, so moving on to the active hypers. Impeccable memory. Okay, so this is pretty much, you can steal hyper skills with this one. And I already mentioned which skills to steal. And then at 170, you get that Rose Finale, I don't know, whatever. And what that does is it places, it's kind of like an AoE. So it'll attack a large area in the screen and then leave cards where you hit the enemies. And the cards will stay on the floor, dealing extra damage as enemies walk over it. Let's see. So it attacks up to 15 enemies for 700% damage, 6 times. And then the cards will do damage 2 times on 6 enemies. The cooldown of this skill is 65 seconds. And then at level 200, You get Heroic Memories, which when you're... well, it increases your damage by 10%, but you can also stack it with other heroes to increase yourself and their damage as well. And that's it for the skills. I already showed a little bit of mobbing, so I don't think I really have to go over that. And let's go straight into bossing then. Ah, you know what? There was a skill I forgot to mention. The Bowmaster skill, which allows you to do more damage, but, you know, reduce your defense. You could use that instead of Final Cut, if you really want to, but I like the Final Cut damage boost. Anyway, so these are the skills that I'm bringing to Von Leon right now. And, yeah. So let's go ahead and use our skills. And take him out. I'm also going to allow him to do damage reflect, so I can show you that it can be stolen. So I'm going to try not to kill him too quickly. Okay, he should be doing damage reflect soon. By the way, you can jump over his lasers. Come on. Do it already. You know you want to. You get a lot of avoidability with this class. I don't know why I'm lagging so much right now. There it is. So we activated it, and we could just steal it and use it for ourselves. And that's pretty much Phantom. So, sorry this video is just so all over the place. Like, hopefully I edited out so much of the stuff. Like, I've been recording for 40 minutes now. My goodness. I don't know, maybe I'll leave it in for comedy's sake. Who knows? But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. And if there's anything I missed, please be sure to leave it in the comment. And, yeah. Have a great day. See you in the next video.